Okay, so tonight we're going to be taking a look at Twitter engagement a little bit more in depth on how to leverage conversation on the platform and ways to not only use it well with Soundboard, but also perhaps taking the step to create some of your own content. Or what I really want to talk about tonight is figuring out conversations that are already going on Twitter that may interest you and that you can be a part of pretty organically to make those connections. So again, in our 5 points of how do you grow business online, we're really going to be looking at the conversation aspect of this. So how do you not only create and engage, but also find those new relationships to grow your business. So first thing I want to take a look at is hashtags. So a hashtag is it's actually a live link. When you start a hashtag, you hit the pound sign and then you start typing, and you'll notice that hashtags have no punctuation, no spaces in them. As soon as you hit the space bar or period or comma or apostrophe, the active link stops. And so if you want to make a hashtag, I love um, almonds or whatever it is, then you type that. You can put capitalization in it if you choose to make it a little bit easier to read. A lot of instances people just run it all lowercase, but if you're using several words, sometimes that can get a little confusing. But anyway, when you start typing that pound sign and then type a word or multiple words, then Twitter will turn that into a live link automatically. Okay, so you don't have to do anything to make it work. But what happens is once that hashtag goes out there, your tweet gets associated with every other tweet that's using that particular hashtag. Now, the third bullet here is something important to remember. You can make up your own hashtags all day long. But the point of using a hashtag is to get associated with larger existing conversations so that your content can be seen. So if you are really clever and funny and witty and you want to make up your own hashtag, that's fine. Do it. But if it doesn't catch on and other people don't use it, then you're not really uniting yourself to other conversations. Okay, but hashtags are also a great way to search for a particular topic without having to go out and follow a bunch of handles. So especially if something very topical comes up, big news stories, these are great hashtags to search for. And then Twitter also shows you what's trending. So let's hop over here to Twitter and taking a look. I've created a hashtag search, but before we even take a look at that, let's take a look at what is trending right now on Twitter. So Twitter's not great about showing you this on the mobile app, but on the desktops, on the desktop view, it's a lot easier to see. Obviously, it's just this big list here on the left. So hashtag Royal Rumble, I think probably has something to do with wrestling. Sally Yates is a big name because she's the AG at the moment. So she's in the news with what's going on with Trump's executive order. Then, of course, the Justice Department's also in the news. It looks like the Boy Scouts have popped up in the last little bit, making some changes to their enrollment policy. So here's the point is that whatever's trending on Twitter is going to be shown up to you, but also Twitter just picks some stuff sometimes to show you. There are bigger trends on Twitter right now than this one that has 6,700 tweets, but this is very topical, I guess, and so Twitter has chosen to show that. Also, they'll show you when an event is going on. So tonight is the SAG Awards. So at the red carpet, if you see this live, you know that tons and tons of people are using that hashtag at the moment. And if you wanted to make a comment about that, of course, you could just include that hashtag and what you had to say, and your tweet goes out. So now what I've done is I've already done a hashtag search for hashtag real food. And you can see, again, I don't follow these accounts, but I can see what they have to say, again, because everything on the platform is public. And so this is a really good way, I think. We use this tactic sometimes to find new and active hashtags that are going on. So we'll use something that we know is a good one, a valid one, hashtag real food, and we'll see what else people are using. Okay, so hashtag meatless Monday, hashtag vegetarian. These are good ways to figure out, associated conversations that are going on when you're searching. Now, just as a matter of best practices, if you want to create a tweet that gets found, I kind of find this distracting when I try to read something. I think tweets that are like this, that are all hashtags and links, my eye has a hard time focusing and trying to figure out. Obviously, we have some kind of recipe here, but pulling out the meat of what the heck is this supposed to be about. So as you're composing, keep that in mind. Here's a good example of easier to read. Nestle uses hashtag cancer to sell a product linked to cancer, hashtag real food. Okay, so I know exactly what's going on here, and I can get a real good sense of I'm gonna read if I click that link. So you'll see that, best practice is 2, maybe 3 hashtags in a tweet. But when you start adding 3, 4, 5, 6, I just find it gets harder to read. And then something like this one that we just saw, this tweet, obviously, no, he doesn't care, or Kumara Fusion, whoever they are, they don't care if anybody reads any of this. The whole point is to get their image to pop up in a search. And so, I mean, it worked. We're looking at it right now. So, you can just decide as you're putting content out. The soundboard will include tweets, hashtags in your tweets, and we're constantly looking for, trending and the best kind of hashtags to use, but we're never going to overdo it. And you're never going to see something like this come out of the soundboard. The other thing that's interesting about trends is, of course, these have just popped up due to what's going on in the news. But trends and hashtags are often planned in advance. And this is a really great way to get associated, again, with bigger conversations, leverage your Twitter presence online. So what I did over here, I'll just show you real quick, is I made a Google search for nutrition hashtags January 2017. Okay, so I got lots of examples of fitness, but then one down here caught my eye, National Nutrition Month. So what happens is a lot of organizations, this is the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, a lot of organizations plan their trends ahead of time. Okay, so National Nutrition Month is this year in March. The theme is put your best fork forward. And a lot of times they will publish ahead of time what hashtag they want you to use for the month. Okay, so we've got this whole section here of media materials for National Nutrition Month. Now, of course, the soundboard isn't going to leverage this stuff because it's not ours, but we will definitely be looking at this and seeing, what hashtag clearly they want to use. National Nutrition Month hashtag. What a great way, to leverage the tweets that we've got going out and get them included in these conversations. They have lots of stuff for you to use here. There's news, press kits, some of these, I was scrolling around, they even provide their own infographics and videos. So when you think about, using hashtags and trends, a great thing to do, here's, Total Diet Approach to Healthy Eating infographic. I thought this was pretty good looking. So there's this kind of stuff out there that's provided, and then they want you to use this kind of stuff, obviously, during the month of March to get included in this Nutrition Month conversation. They want to help drive it and provide content for it and feed it and hope that it catches on. I know that, of course, August is More Fruits and Veggies Month. March is also colon cancer awareness month, which is one of the bigger cancer awareness pushes that get a lot of traction. And so when you're thinking about it, and this is how a lot of times we are planning your soundboard content ahead of time, because we want to know when these things are coming up and when these things are going to occur. And so that brings us to this next point here. Well, this is the mechanics of it. Let me tell you this real quick. So how do you use a hashtag? So if you find something that you're interested in, you hit the pound sign and you just start typing. And I'll just go ahead and show you a live example of how this works, because it's pretty cool that Twitter will, see, I've composed a search of hashtag real food, and now I want to tweet. And so Twitter already thinks I want to tweet about that. So, but if you start typing, so I was going to type whole food, but it starts providing suggestions for you based on active hashtags that are already being used. So of course you can make up your own one, your own hashtag, but here's an example of, well, this is obviously not funny or clever or witty, but you can make up your own to be included alongside another one that's being used, if you want yours to try to catch on, or of course you can just use something that is already out there. So you can see, again, they're providing suggestions for you based on what they know is already out there and working. So when you're thinking about how to leverage this, again, Twitter will provide some suggestions. And then Twitter, again, automatically turns that hashtag into a link. And so if somebody's clicking around and they see something in your tweet that interests them that is a hashtag, they can hit that and it'll bring them to every tweet on the platform that's using that particular hashtag, again, irrespective of whether or not they follow the accounts. So just keep an ear to the ground as you're thinking about, again, if you're one of those folks that's thinking, oh, well, Soundboard's just going to do all the tweeting for me and I'm never going to think about it, then these things still work on Facebook. They still work on Instagram. Hashtags have kind of become ubiquitous across the platforms. So they do work elsewhere. To keep that in mind. And again, the trends are going to always come and go. Took this screenshot probably last fall, maybe during the maybe even last summer. It's about the Iowa caucus. But keep in mind that, again, these big health organizations often plan stuff in advance. So National Grilling Month, we used that one a lot last year. That's a big one. A lot of healthy recipes, healthy, outdoor eating ideas, family dining ideas can be rolled into that. American Heart Month is a big one. Anything where the Juice Plus products can speak into what's going on from a nutrition perspective, I think is wise to leverage. So, we're, again, the Soundboard, we're going to be very careful. We're working with corporate. We understand what you're allowed to say and not allowed to say. So we're never going to be out there making bold and grand claims, but we certainly are going to be leveraging these as appropriate as we find them. And then again, just this last point to reiterate, even if you don't have a lot of followers, it doesn't matter, because that's the whole point of having this public presence on this platform. And one little side note: if you do have a protected account on Twitter, it's a lot harder for you to get found. When you're putting this kind of stuff out, only your followers are going to see it. So just be aware of that. Okay, so when it comes to now thinking about your audience, we want to, of course, grow your audience. It's so fun. I get to talk to people every day who are Soundboard users who I hear over and over again that they are picking up followers and their follower base is growing and the engagement's growing because of Soundboard tweets, but they want to know how to grow it even more. Is it favorable to always include one hashtag across multiple tweets? Yeah, that is not a bad idea at all, especially if it's something that is very specific. you know, if you're, you know, I always talk about healthy food, healthy living on when we have these conversations, because that's where my mind is. But yeah, you can absolutely use hashtag, you know, healthy kids or something like that across multiple tweets that are about, you know, the same general topic. So don't be afraid to repeat those. That's really a good practice, actually. So in thinking about your audience, so I know there's been, you know, a lot of times I say over and over that follower counts are immaterial on Twitter, and that is true. There's one little caveat though, and here's the caveat that we've arrived at. You may have heard about this in the news lately, but Twitter's trying very hard to shut down fake accounts. And so one way that they detect if an account is fake is they do actually care about follower count up to a point. So if you have 19 followers and you have a Twitter egg for your icon, and you do not have a background banner image, and you do not have a biography, and you've never set foot on Twitter platform except to create the account and to hook it up to Soundboard, and we're tweeting for you. At some point, your account is going to get put in Twitter jail. Okay, Twitter jail is for accounts that nobody ever logs on to and actually creates searches or retweets somebody else or makes a comment and has a hard time picking up followers. Okay, so keep that in mind. There is this invisible line that Twitter has, and it is 50 followers. They want to know that you are not a fake account. So you really, if you don't yet have 50, you need to make that a goal to hit in the next couple of weeks. It's not hard to do, okay? Not hard to do at all. But you definitely need to fill out your profile, and you definitely need to hit that goal. What happens is, if you don't yet have 50, and especially if you're a Twitter egg, even if you have good content going out from the soundboard with hashtags, when somebody creates a search for hashtag healthy, your stuff is not going to show up in their search, because Twitter's got you in this bucket of people that they think maybe or maybe not real accounts. So to grow that follower base in the beginning and to get it kicked over that 50 mark, the fastest thing that you can do is to go follow other real people. All right, so where do you live? Go follow local businesses. They would love to have you. Go follow I like to follow, I don't watch my local news, but I like to follow the anchors because they all have a really great Twitter presence. They all follow you back, and they're really happy to engage with you and answer questions. So I think that's a really good thing. Follow your local farmers market, follow area gymnasiums, follow area organizations that set up 5Ks and marathons, you know, cycling clubs, those kinds of things. Of course, if you are interested in a band or you know, a sports team, follow them by all means, but don't expect to get followed back. When you follow real people with small accounts, 99 times out of 100, they will follow you back. It's just a common courtesy. Okay, Ellie asks, regarding followers, what's the best way to make a connection from the get-go with new followers? I think you mean the get-go, maybe? So when you pick up a new follower, let's hop over here to Twitter and see what to do. All right, so in the last hour, I have picked up a couple of followers. Beach Bod Fitness. They are a fitness and nutrition company based in Kent. I think that's in England. All right, so what we have here, Beach Bod, if you're on the call, I'm going to pick on you a little bit. So yeah, so they're just getting started. They have pinned this tweet to the top. It's 4 hours old, and it says coming soon. So that tells me they're getting started. Right now, I look at this and I see stock photo, not a lot of information. You just joined. So you can kind of decide, you know, when as you pick up followers, is this going to go anywhere or not? Let's look up Vida Sana. This is in Spanish. I don't speak it, so you can decide if you want to follow these accounts back or not. To answer your question, what's the first best step? The first best step is to follow them back. Okay, so Maria here is a Juice Plus and Soundboard subscriber. I definitely want to follow her back and give her that courtesy. In your instance, when you're trying to make business connections, you probably want to think of this in terms of how do you make that first step, that first connection. All right, I'm going to try to find a follower here who's actually got a profile. Let's see what's going on here. We got Health and Fitness New Mexico, Ms. Mayo Super Health. Trying to find something where it's like patently obvious that what they're interested in. Okay, I do know Janet. Janet's a Soundboard subscriber. She's an NMD, but let's use her for an example here. So let's say Janet is somebody that I don't know. And so Janet here very clearly told me in her profile what she's interested in. She's a mother, grandmother. She's very interested in family, health, whole food nutrition, lifestyle, travel. She's a nurse. She's interested in her faith and helping others be healthy. This is a perfect example of somebody who's given you 1,000 points of connection here. There's so much to ask her. So Janet, we can tweet to Janet. So when you notice that I went to her profile, I was already following her, but you can hit the follow button here. And then let's send a tweet to Janet. We want to make this ice-breaking connection with Janet. So we're going to tweet to, notice that Twitter already starts the message with her Twitter handle so that she'll get a notification that she's been tweeted at. And we could say, what is your favorite healthy breakfast for a busy mom on the go? Right? And then we hit tweet. So keep in mind, Twitter is surface level. You do not ask, somebody to buy. You do not ask somebody their deepest, darkest secrets. You keep it nice and light, and you just begin to look for those connections points. Now that's for somebody who's followed you. So again, common courtesy. I've got some examples here of people who are just starting out. So, is a nice thing. Yeah, we can follow them. But when you see somebody who has, liked your tweet or retweeted your tweet, then what is the tweet about? Well, this is a fitness, engaging your core muscles. And so here's a great way to ask them if they made it if they're holding up their New Year's resolutions to make it to the gym, or, what's their new favorite exercise or something like that, since they expressed interest in that particular topic. So pretty good connection points there. Okay, very good. All right, so again, when you are trying to grow your account, pick up followers, you will pick up followers who you have no idea who they are, and that's a good thing. That's a positive thing, because you're attracting the attention of somebody, again, who didn't know who you were before and probably doesn't know what Juice Plus is. So be courteous, follow people back. You will pick up, there are 1,000,005 services on Twitter that want to sell you followers, and they will follow your account, and they basically promote themselves as marketing agencies. I can't remember if I went into depth about this or not with this particular group, because I've been doing so many trainings lately, but it is important for you to know that buying followers on Twitter is very possible, it's very cheap, it's very easy, and it's a really bad idea 100% of the time. You can buy 20,000 followers for less than $50. Okay, when you do that, a couple of things happen. Obviously, one, your follower count spikes, but you are buying a vanity number. It is a meaningless number. You are not buying actual people to follow and engage with your account. You are not going to get more engagement. You can buy services that will retweet a message of yours 500 times. It doesn't get you anything. It doesn't go anywhere. And in fact, Twitter will actually downgrade your account and punish you a little bit by preventing you from showing up in searches if you do this. Twitter's very aggressive about shutting down these bot networks. And when they discover them, and we have clients that have come to us trying to dig themselves out of this hole, and we try to help them. But if you buy 20,000 followers, Twitter is so active about shutting down these bot networks that you can lose 4,000 followers overnight. They're just gone because Twitter's closed the accounts because they've discovered like the root of the network. So all that to say, the only thing you're purchasing again is I have more followers than I did before or than somebody else. And it is just a waste of time and money. And it's not going to get you anywhere. So don't do it. The other thing I'll say about followers from a just kind of a control standpoint, and again, pardon me if I'm repeating myself if I've mentioned this before, but if you do, let's hop over here and I'll just look at all our followers. Again, you know, this is not the most comfortable thing, but since Twitter is such an open platform, occasionally you will get followed by, I say will, you might get followed by something that is completely inappropriate and possibly pornographic. So what you can do if that occurs is every single follower that you have has a gear wheel. You click on this gear wheel and it gives you a lot of options. The first are positive. Now you have three choices here. You can mute, which means they still follow you, but you don't see what they post, which, I mean, truthfully, I don't speak Spanish. So, you know, if this person tweeted all the time, I might mute them because I just don't know what they're saying. You can block that person from following you, which in the instance of something illicit, I would take the step of actually reporting it because then Twitter will take it down. But you can certainly block, and they can't follow you. They can't comment on your stuff, and that you don't see them here. So with a public and kind of business-oriented handle like this one, I try to take the time to clean those kind of things out just because I don't want all you lovely Juice Plus people, you know, hardworking, family-oriented people to stumble on garbage. So it's only happened once or twice. You know, I've been running this handle for going on 3 years. So it's not something that you're going to stumble across every day, but just know that it does happen and it's out there from time to time. So we're coming up on our half hour, and this is something that we did just kind of mention. But again, the best practices for engagement are, you know, first of all, again, when you create a Twitter account, please make sure the app is on your phone. Please make sure you're signed into it correctly, and please make sure your notifications are turned on so that you're getting those pop up on your screen on your phone and you can react to them quickly. You can, little bullet point here, ask Twitter to auto post every single tweet to Facebook. I do throw that out there just because people ask. I don't recommend it totally because for two reasons. One, it's a lot for Facebook people to handle. You know, there's a lower threshold of posting limits that people accept on Facebook. And it just doesn't look as good. You know, we work really hard to get good looking images and good looking articles that we know are going to work correctly going out through your Twitter handle on Soundboard. When those get ported over to Facebook, they don't always port correctly. And by that, I mean the links don't always work. And y'all, we're working with Juice Plus Corporate on this. They know this, but the Juice Plus site, your specific Juice Plus site, actually does a really bad job of hosting images to post on Facebook when you share an article like from the Juice Plus blog or something. And we take a lot of care in overriding that on Twitter, but that it doesn't get overridden on Facebook. And so just know that it doesn't look so hot if you were to do that. Ellie asked, how long are the replays available? As long as YouTube exists. I'm going to send this straight to Guy, and he can post it wherever. And then also, you know, I throw this up here every time. Facebook.com/Healthy Living Soundboard. Since these presentations are for Team Eagle, I don't post them on the Facebook page. but there's lots of other videos on the Facebook page that we do post, and they're all run through the same YouTube channel. And so actually you could just subscribe to that channel, and I'm not going to take them down anytime soon. So just so you know. Can you repost from Facebook and Instagram to Twitter? Is that okay? Okay, good question. So if you want to, you can do that. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to find an example of this or not. The downside of that is that when you create a post, and this is a live search, so who knows what's going to happen. When you create a post on Facebook and tell it to automatically share to Twitter, I'm trying to find an example of this, and I can't. But a lot of times what happens is, of course, Twitter has a size limit on the tweet, and so people don't keep that in mind when they're creating Facebook posts. And what happens is it'll trail off, and it'll just do ... And so you have this half-baked thought that shows up in Twitter. All of these that we're seeing, these people know what they're doing. Entertainment Tonight knows what it's doing, so they haven't done that. The other thing is this: yes, you can Instagram. You can send your Instagrams to Twitter, but the image doesn't show up. It just creates a link, and it just says Instagram.com/blah blah 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 blah. It doesn't. I don't think it looks good, so I would recommend against doing that. Okay, well, we're at our half hour. Please join us. What day is it? Today is Monday, the 30th. Okay, so next week I have a prior commitment, the February 6th. So join us in 2 weeks, and I'll touch base with Guy and remind everybody. 2 weeks will be our next class, and it's going to be all about Facebook profiles and looking your best on the platform, gauging audience interest, things like that. So I hope to see everybody then. Happy to do it, Ellie. And yeah, we got lots to learn. So we'll have 2 weeks on Facebook, then another week on Twitter, in depth prospecting on the platform. So look forward to seeing everybody then. And I know Guy will post this video as soon as I send it to him, and everybody have a great night.